The National Urban League has released its 2021 State of Black America report. The annual study takes a pulse check on the state of progress in Black America. The report found, as we have also reported, communities of color bore the heavy brunt of the pandemic. It also says the past year helped mobilize a national reckoning on racism and police violence. For more on this, let's bring in Marc Morial. He is the president and CEO of the National Urban League. He is also married to CBS This Morning Saturday co-host Michelle Miller. Marc, welcome. Great to see you again. So, of course, the report is extensive, but always a pleasure. The report is extensive, but if you had to summarize, what, in your opinion, is the state of Black America?
I think the best way to summarize the report is that the report represents a call to action. And that call to action is, after the pandemic unmasked racial inequality in America in a way we haven't seen in a very long time, the question is, what do we do next? How do we move forward? And what the report calls for is to embrace a new normal that is more diverse, equitable, and just. And in the report, we focus on healthcare, economics, and policing, three issues which really bubbled to the forefront in 2020. So the call to action says that returning to how things were before the pandemic doesn't represent progress. Changing the reality of healthcare, making our systems more equitable, changing the reality of our economy as we rebuild to make it more inclusive, to work towards ending inequities, changing the justice system and policing so that it is more equitable and just, and we build trust between police officers, law enforcement, and communities is what this report calls for.
You know, and as you said, the pandemic helped unmask the stark racial inequalities in our economic, healthcare, and criminal justice system. And of course, add to that the murder of George Floyd, and we saw a national uprising. Do you believe that that movement made a difference in the last 18 months or so, that pushed some progress forward? And if not, if it hasn't yet done that, what needs to be done to give that moving staying power?
The movement of 2020 was a powerful movement, unlike anything we've seen in many decades. It was a movement of people of all races in big cities and small towns in suburban America. It was a movement driven by young people. It was a movement driven by anger, but a movement that focused that anger on protest across the nation. The movement reached the ballot boxes of America as people turned out in record numbers to vote for president and members of the Senate and members of the House. The movement reached corporate America and the boardrooms of America as many businesses stepped back, they were introspective, and made significant commitments. Has it made a difference? 1 year against the backdrop of some 400 plus years of racial injustice will not erase, will not change, will not rectify, will not repair. But 1 year of commitment, 1 year of action, 1 year of a shift in direction, I think is very important. The challenge for America now, can we and will we sustain it? Because it goes without saying that there are forces pushing in another direction. Witness what we see when it comes to democracy and voting, an onslaught of state legislation all across the nation to make it more difficult for Americans to vote, targeted at Black Americans, at young Americans, at brown Americans, at Americans who may be in fact disabled. That's all a counterforce to the progress that I think began in the year of 2020.
Do you believe that this pushback, that counterforce, comes from a misguided belief that somehow, you know, America is a pie and that it has to be divided up rather than it's, equality for all doesn't mean someone else is having their rights taken away?
Tanya, good point. And it embraces a view we have that progress, particularly justice, is not a zero-sum game. That in this nation, that because I secure my rights doesn't mean they've been taken away from you. Because me and my family are better off economically and I have greater upward mobility and opportunity doesn't mean it's come as a sacrifice to you. And too often in America, we have leaders who promote a zero-sum game narrative, paranoia, fear, and division. I'm here to say that the future of this nation is a future that is predicated on multiracialism, multiculturalism, the idea that all people can sit at the table of brotherhood and sisterhood and enjoy the prosperity of this country. But we've got to end, and we've got to not twist, but turn away from the inequitable past in order to do that. And that's the challenge for the nation. It's not just the challenge for Black America. It's the challenge for the entire nation in 2021 and beyond.
Marc Morial, as always, thank you so much for joining us. We always
Thanks,
appreciate
Tanya.
it.
Appreciate you.